fake Kelsey Grammer to kick this show off.
Let's kick this pig.
Here we go. Well, hello there, everyone. This is Keith from Keith's Comics coming to you from the Keith's Comics warehouse and studio. We have a nice, fun show here. Chris has gone through the warehouse, found some sets, found some other cool stuff. It's just an embarrassment of riches out there. Cindy worked a whole bunch of stuff, too, and then Kaylin is keeping us on the straight and narrow. Chris is going to be showing you books one at a time, and the price that we want on it is going to be on the front of the book. And if it matches your FOMO and your budget, make sure you're on the Keith's Comics Network Facebook page and type claim in the title of the book so we can figure out a way to get it to you. Alan knows what's up because he's a pretty much a regular here, early adopter. Don't forget we have pop-up shows sometimes during the week, so make sure you have those notifications set up. And if you need to, I think Kaylin says that she will be giving a class on one of the, like Saturday afternoon, I think it is, on how to make sure you get notifications. If you are one of our regulars here in town, we appreciate that. And don't forget to come by the stores because we are so excited that it's not freezing cold anymore that we're having a goodbye winter sale. Basically, you buy something in a couple of categories and we give you a whole bunch of discount on it. So there you go. Oh, wow, we got a full 10-second delay on that. That's crazy. So come by the stores and say hey, and then pick up a bargain. Now that we can get out, it's not freezing cold. It is a little rainy, but it's going to be a nice weekend, I think. So it's a good time to get out there. All right, let's see. We've got the Sidekick is still coming. We got the sale. We got the pop-up shows. There was a pop-up show last Saturday focused on graphic novels. That show is still good for another couple of days if you go watch that show. We appreciate that. And if you're watching in the future, we really appreciate that. So many people are watching in the future. We appreciate it. That hundreds of people are watching in the future. So thank you so much for that. And if you are currently watching in the future, hello, future. It's good to see you again. All right, Cindy, go get that fake Kelsey Grammer and let's get this show started.
Let's kick this pig.
All right.
Keith's Comics.
All right, let's see here. Oh, now I'm showing both mics. Let's see if I can turn it on. Kaylin, can you give me a mic test now? That's not much of a mic test, but there you go. That's what we got, I guess. All right. Turn on Comic Cam. Let's get the first book, Chris.
Riding Cowboy, Two Gun Kid.
All right. That's not in the same place. There we go. It goes down a little bit further. A little bit more. There we go. A little bit more. Oh, there we go. All right. Two Gun Kid, as you said earlier when you were looking at that, that is a beautiful Gil Kane cover on that. If you're not into Westerns, what's your problem? This is where you want to jump in right here. This is Two Gun Kid and Rawhide Kid. Oh, boys. From 1973, this is a beautiful comic. It's technically a mid-grade find, but still, look at that. Gil Kane could draw, I think. Mm-hmm. That was a thing. $8 if it gets out to the store. You can claim it here for $6, and we give you a small discount for saving us the time and energy of having to process it and send it out to the stores. Yeah. Hey, Alan's got his own icon. He's got the Kick the Pig. All right, next up.
That's good.
Excalibur, Mucho Mojo.
All right.
Mojo Mayhem, excuse me.
Mojo Mayhem. That's kind of like me sitting here with the mojo going on. Excalibur, big time book. Man, we all read that book in the 80s through the 90s. And then there was a couple of different prestige formats. This is the Mojo Mayhem edition. With that, was that the X-Babies in there? This is all Michael Golden artwork on there?
Art Adams.
Art Adams, I'm sorry. Art Adams. I got Golden on the brain because there's several Michael Golden books I want to talk about later in the show. Mm-hmm. From 1989, this is a beautiful prestige format copy of this, only $6. Hey, back at you, Garrett. We have a little Garrett bait coming up. Next up.
How about a Superman?
So let's pour one out for Gene Hackman, who has decided to leave Metropolis. In Otisburg. Superman number 167. This is it looks great on the screen I'm looking at. A great Brainiac Luthor team up, but I believe that the cover is detached on this and it's got a little tape on the back. It's pretty rough, but that's not going to stop you from reading it because it's a really awesome book. Superman 167 from 1964. I can remember this is one of the earliest Supermans I got whenever I was collecting back in the day. $6 if you claim it here. Superman number 167. Is Ty here in the show? We'll have to figure that out. If you're new to the show, drop into the comments. Say hello. Tell us what you're looking for. That is true, Alan. Gene Hackman did make every movie he was in better. Even, was he in Superman 3? I don't remember.
No one remembers Superman 3.
I do too. Superman 3 is where
I have them all on Blu-ray too, and I don't remember
Superman 3 is where they came up with the idea that they stole an office space.
Robert Vaughn and Richard Pryor.
I think he was only in the one.
Oh, he was definitely in 2.
No, he was in 2, and he was actually in 4.
Really?
There we go. Was he in Quest for Peace? No, all
I
right.
think so.
Shows you how much I paid attention on that.
Yeah, it is. Well, I would think that is a.
Very briefly, it was John Cryer as his nephew or something.
Oh,
He was the
yeah.
main villain. He shows up at one point.
That's true. Next up,
Next up, what day is it?
Thor's Day. Oh, look at that pretty
By
book
Odin's
there.
Raven.
By Odin's Raven. All right, because it's Thor's Day. Thor's Day, it's a day. Before Friday is Thor's Day today. Thor's Day. All right, issue 197, which is just right after Kirby stopped doing Thor. We have John Buscema doing the art inside of this book, but he's looks very Kirby-ish inside of here. From 1972, this issue 197 is $10 for this nice solid Mangog Unleashed copy. $7 if you claim it here. If you want this book, it can be yours. Just make sure you're on the Keith's Comics Network. We simulcast on a lot of our Facebook pages, but make sure you're on the Keith's Comics Network. You type in Thor 197, and we'll sort out how to figure out how to take your money. Yeah, it's by Odin's Beard. What a savings. Next up.
X-Men.
Oh, yes. X-Men 146. Typical. This is right after Scott decided he needed to go find himself. So what's the first thing that happens? They get captured because he's not around. He's such a lame leader. This also is a cool book because as I was flipping through it, I forgot that this was all Doctor Doom also, all the time. X-Men versus Murder World, issue 146 from 1981. Nice, pretty newsstand copy of this. $10 in store, $8 if you claim it here. Next up.
Next up, for all you 90s kids, we got 0 through 5 of Youngblood.
Oh, yeah, you know, us people who lived through this poo-poo this, but, you know, goodness gracious, that's 35 years old. Or 33 years old at this point. Mm-hmm. This is 0 through 5 of Youngblood. It was a taste sensation whenever it came out. I can remember I bought Youngblood by the case. We sold so many of them. This is Youngblood 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from 1992. It's $20 in store, which is a steal for this No Feet Liefeld cover. $17 if you claim it here. Hey, Jerry's here. Good to see you. Next up.
Next up, Captain America and the Falcon.
Oh, cool. Who's on the cover on that?
Stoneface.
Is that a little, I don't know who that's. Ramita with Gene Colan, maybe? I don't know. You can look that up. This is Ramita taking over the book, right? Issue 134. But still, the Falcon is in his original green costume. Without talking about any spoilers, there is a Falcon in the new Captain America movie that is all green. I wonder where he got that idea from. There's the first appearance of Stoneface, and more than likely the last appearance of Stoneface. From 1971, this is a really nice, fine-minded copy. $15 in store. $10 if you claim it here. You know, if you know the answer to anything I'm throwing out there, jump into the comment section. We're all just trying to learn about comics and have a good time. Let's see. Alan says, Oh man, I forgot that was a Doombot. Yeah, Arcade. He was a piece of work, right? Next up.
Next up, it's an early issue of The Witching Hour.
Oh, look at that Neil Adams cover on that from 1970. The Witching Hour. Really cool early 70s horror stuff. You never could tell who was going to have a story in there, from Bernie Wrightson to Alfredo Alcala to maybe sometimes even Neil Adams. I don't remember exactly who's in this, but you know it's going to be awesome. It's a little worse for wear, VG minus, but still solid. Great reader copy. $10 in store. $7 if you claim it here. Next up,
we got a special issue of Classics Illustrated.
Oh, yes. I guess the only one here that remembers a time before we had space flight is Jerry. So this would have been a pretty big deal from 1960, where they were talking about rockets, jets, and missiles. This is a special issue of Classics Illustrated from 1960, issue 159A. Look at that. Are they trying to shoot down that missile with other missiles? Is that what's going on here?
Hey, the science works out, man.
Yeah, well, that's just a lot of math is all it is. $6 if you need this for your cool jet collection, or maybe you're collecting Classics Illustrated. $6 for 159A of Classics Illustrated. Next up,
we got another Two-Gun Kid.
what is this, up down? Is this an Australian version?
Oh. Making sure everybody's keeping attention.
It's from the land down under. This one features the River Rats. I don't even know what that is. Dick Ayer's artwork, I guess that was a kind of a house style. Him and Kirby, to my eye, are very similar at this time period. I love this time period too. 1966, you still have those big, thick word balloons on the covers. And then also we got an appearance of Joe Goliath. They tried to have some villains, a villains gallery for the Western heroes. But generally, back then, they take them to jail, and that was kind of it. They didn't do a lot of escaping. Issue 79 of the Two-Gun Kid is $10, or $7 if you claim it here. Next up.
Chad.
Oh, what's going on here?
Action.
Look at that. Action Comics number 332 from 1966. Jerry, you bought this new on the stands, right? So there we go. $8 in store. It's a very well read copy. Was that Superman being attacked by ghosts? $6 and very early appearance of Supergirl, I bet. $6 for Action Comics number 332. Next up,
early issue of Fantastic Four.
Oh, yes. We're all getting excited about the Fantastic Four movie coming. When is that? July? The end of July?
I believe so.
Like that? So this is the end of February, March, April, May, June. 5 more months. 5 more months. There we go. This is a really solid book on the inside, but it is absolutely thrashed on the outside. Holy smokes. It looks like somebody used it to change their oil or their birdcage. I'm not really sure. Behold a Distant Star. Great Kirbiness here. From 1965, a great reader copy of Fantastic Four number 37. $6 if you claim it here. $10 if it gets out to our store. It doesn't look too horrible in that, but let me just tell you. The inside of this book is very nice. The cover of this book is unbelievably thrashed. Next up. Ty's here. All right. Welcome, Ty.
Detective Comics.
Oh, yes. This is a really cool issue of Detective Comics. $50. What? Holy smokes. What's going on? $50. Well, it's a Kaluta cover, first of all. Second of all, it's got a really crazy, I think, Frank Robbins Batman story. But the cool thing is, in the middle of this book, there is a Dick Giordano elongated man story. And somewhere in the midst of time, Dick Giordano came to Dallas many times in the mid-'80s to the early '90s. Dick Giordano signed the inside of this book on the elongated man story. And that is a really cool deal because he doesn't sign much anymore. From 1972, this signed Detective Comics, the book itself is pretty nice, but the signature is exceptional. $50 for Detective Comics and number 426. Next up.
Next up,
Yes, that FF was read way too many times in the bathtub.
Avengers.
Oh, yes, my favorite era of the Avengers, the Roy Thomas, John Buscema run here. I don't know who's inking him. That doesn't look exact. You can tell that's Buscema's pencils, but I don't know. Giacoa, is that who did most of his inking? I can't remember. This is from 1970, issue 81. It's a pretty sharp copy, fine minus. $18 in store, $13 if you claim it here. Oh my gosh, I just love this run of Avengers so much. Next up.
Next up we have swag.
Swag time. All right. Swag time, swag time. It's time for swag time. That old time, swag time. I'm going to come up with a song eventually. Swag time, swag time. Swag is the stuff that whenever I buy collections, sometimes I'll buy, a whole collection in a pickup truck, a closet. And there's a bunch of stuff we don't put in our stores. We got to do something with it, so we offer it at Swag Time. What do you got there first, Chris?
First, we got Super Gods by Grant Morrison.
Oh, it's an actual novel?
Actual book with words.
A book with words, no pictures?
No pictures.
Oh, my. I don't know. How about that? What do we got? $3 on that?
Uh-huh.
Grant Morrison with no artist. I don't know how to act. $3 for this, what's it called, Super Gods?
Super Gods.
Super Gods, $3 for this novel. Next up.
Teenagers from Outer Space, another book.
Another book.
This does have some art in it. It's essays on the Legion of Superheroes.
Oh, essays on the Legion of Superheroes. Those are just a little bit out of frame, so go down a little further next time. That one's fine.
Oh, that one's fine.
Yeah. An homage to Adventure Comics 247, first appearance of the Legion of Superheroes. All right, next up.
Next up, we got an art book.
Women of Wonder. This is a $4 art book. I think it's $24.95, but it features fantasy artists, women fantasy artists. Mm-hmm. So we can't flip through it because we can't. There you go. But it's a cool art book. I don't even know. I guess we got it in a collection. $4. There you go. Next up.
And we got two of these. The Legend of Korra. How to Draw the Legend of Korra.
All right, if somebody in your life is totally all about The Last Airbender, this is probably a fun little book to get them. Originally $10. Again, this just appeared in our warehouse. I don't even know where it came from. $7 if you have somebody in your life you need to get an art book for. Here you go, How to Draw the Legend of Korra. Next up,
we got a book on the life of Walt Disney.
Who put the thing right over Walt Disney's face? Mm-hmm. It looks like Chris's handwriting.
Nope. It was here when I got here. And we got two of them.
Yeah, this is actually a fun little book going through the life of Walt Disney about how he came up with the idea of the mouse that roared and all that kind of stuff. $5 originally, I think a $9 or $10 book. If you have someone kind of like a young reader's book talking about with spot illustrations about who and what Walt Disney did. Next up.
And that is it for swag.
That's it for swag?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, okay. Well, let's see. Give me that old time swag time. Give me that old time swag time. Give me that old time. No. Okay. Next up. Back to the regular show.
We got the Bloodstone Hunt in the Captain America series.
A super random character, Bloodstone, but then so I don't know if it's the original creator of it got on Captain America and said, I'm going to use that character I created 10 years ago. Could have been, but this is the Bloodstone. What was it? 6 issues or something like that?
357 through 362.
360. Yeah, look at that. Is that early Mike Zeck artwork too?
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at that. Is that not 1984?
I believe so.
Whatever year I wrote on there, my eyes are not good enough. I guess I could put on my glasses.
And it's a good little miniseries if you haven't read it.
And also, it's the first appearance of Crossbones happens in this. If you were looking for that, 1989. All right, so what was that? $30 or $25 in store? $20 if you claim it here. Mm-hmm. The entire Bloodstone, part 1 of 6, all 6 parts. Next up,
we got Spider-Man 13.
All right. I don't know. Is it an homage if you drew the original also? I don't know what the rules are on that. Is it a pastiche at this point? I don't know. Oh, there we go. Those glasses are better. All right, Spider-Man 13 from the time McFarlane took over and got his own number 1. From 1991, this issue number 13, it has a little wave in it, so it's a little bit cheaper than the regular copies. Hey there, issue 30, so we call it a fine plus. $12 in store though, still $10 if you need this for your collection. Next up,
we got a Detective Comics with Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday.
was he though? All right, you're gonna take his word for it, I guess. Issue 523 of Detective Comics, which Batman versus Grundy with the. I want to. Who is this? Gene Colan doing the art on the inside. But what's interesting is this. This is the first cameo appearance of Croc, Killer Croc. He's not even. You can't even tell he's a Croc. I mean, he walks through like 4 panels in this. But first cameo. Still, there you go. Issue the 523 is $30 in store, $20 if you claim it here. Next up,
we got a Thor story arc when Dan Jurgens was working on the God of Thunder, or Lord of Earth, as it says underneath this
Lord
name.
of Earth. From 2003, we have issues 68 through 74, the story arc Lord of Earth. There we go. $20 is what it will be in the stores if it gets that far, but you can pick it up here for $15. Next up,
Avengers.
Oh,
with Whirlwind. That's a nice cover.
That is a crazy good cover, right? That's Gil Kane also, right? It's all about Gil Kane today, isn't it?
And they have floating heads.
Floating heads alert. Floating heads alert. From 1975, this is issue 139. It's a well-read copy at VG, but still, this is a classic. I can remember this is one of the earliest Avengers comics I can remember reading. And it has a really cool plot twist in the middle of this book. Well, I guess for a 13-year-old, it was really cool. I'd probably see it coming today. Well, Cindy would definitely see it coming today. $6, though, for this VG copy of Avengers number 139. Next up,
we got a Vampirella special with Frazetta cover.
Oh, from 1996. Harris Comics was a publisher that hung around for a decade or so. They had the rights to do Vampirella. This is the 25th anniversary of either Harris or Vampirella. I'm not sure which in 1996. This is a Frazetta cover. Was Frazetta still alive in 96?
It's a beautiful
I think he
cover.
died
I don't know.
early 90s.
I'll look it up.
I don't know. Did I ever tell you my Frazetta story? I walked by him at San Diego Comic-Con, and I go, oh my gosh, that's Frank Frazetta. And his arms were like Popeye's arms. And I was too terrified to even talk to him. I averted my eyes. I wish my 50-year-old self would have met him, because I would have totally beat him down with questions. But 2010,
Really?
okay. There you go. So he might have done an actual new cover here.
It's beautiful.
This Frazetta cover is $6 for this Vampirella 25th anniversary. Next up,
we got here's the Michael Golden and Detective Batman family. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, this is a fun book. You get 5 Batman family stories in this Detective Comics number 482. The middle story is just bonkers because it's Michael Golden with Dick Giordano inks. It is crazy good. And then just to kick it off, then Golden does a Batmite story after that. It's just fun stuff. The other stuff is, fun, Bat books, but man, buy this for the Demon story. $30 in store, $25 if you claim it here. I don't even care what's going on with the giant white gorilla there. Buy it for the Demon story. $25. Claim it now. Next up,
we have I'll get there. The Spider-Woman.
Oh, the Spider-Woman. There, you know what? For 40 years, I never saw the there. The Spider-Woman, number 10. This is the first Gypsy Moth. Are we allowed to say that anymore?
Sure.
I didn't know if we could or not. Number 10 from 1978, $8. If you had Super Spare E-level villain on your punch card today, there you go. You can blot that out. $6 for first appearance of Gypsy Moth. Spider-Woman, number 10. Next up,
Marvel Tales number 1. Nice collections of classic
Oh,
stories.
this book. I had forgotten about this. I guess it came out during the pandemic, and a lot of people missed this. This is Marvel Tales Silver Surfer. What they did is they went and collected 3 just random Silver Surfer stories that I bet have not really been collected together before. So this oversized book, which was is $10, and I'm asking $10 for this now because it reprints the story from Thor 193 and then the story from Submariner 34 and 35. Wow, all of them there together. Just super random Silver Surfer stories, recolored in like masterwork versions. Good printing. Man, this is a cool book. If you're a big Silver Surfer fan, and everybody's going to be a big Silver Surfer fan by September, this is a book you're going to want to have in your collection. $10 for Marvel Tales #1 from 2020. And Alan is right. Michael Golden is terminally underrated when talking about the great artist of the 80s. I have 1 page of original Michael Golden art left. That's from Mr. Miracle. Next up.
And we got Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Where are you? Scooby-Doo Team Up.
Looks like he's in Gotham City.
Uh-huh.
Scooby-Doo Team Up from 2015, where Scooby teams up with the Gotham Girls. Rest in peace. Oh, that was Gossip Girls. My bad. If they're going 3s, who's next? Seinfeld? I don't know. Scooby-Doo Team Up #12 from 2015. This VF copy featuring Scooby and at least one of the Scooby gang, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. $10 in store, $6 if you claim it here. Next up.
Next up, Ultimate Spider-Man.
There we go. Ultimate Spider-Man. At some point, Garrett, you're going to have to send me a list so I don't double up on you. I think the one later on you might already have, but we'll see. From 2002, this is $8 if it gets to the store, $6 if you claim it here for Ultimate Spider-Man #14. Way back in the day, as they say. That's harsh. Way back in the day. That was 23 years ago. Oh my gosh. $6. Next up.
Next up, Spider-Man or Superman versus Aliens. Yeah, it'll be Spider-Man eventually.
Don't put an alien inside me. Superman versus Aliens, the first miniseries, is 3 issues, prestige format.
Gorgeous Kevin Nolan art.
Kevin Nolan art. Yeah, I can appreciate that it's a quality art. Never been my favorite. Superman versus Aliens, though, 3-issue prestige format, gently read, if read at all. $20 for the whole set, or $16 if you claim it here. Next up.
I think we're going to do Lightning Round.
Lightning Round. Oh, Pablo's not here, so maybe he won't fall asleep while he's driving or something like that. Lightning Round. Okay, Lightning Round. Oops, wrong animation. Lightning Rounds are $1, $2, and $3 books because we have $1, $2, and $3 bins in our stores. We're hoping that this is just something you cannot live without. And these are $1, $2, and $3 books that are overstock, stuff that I don't want to get buried, stuff I don't know what to do with. Hey, there you go. Thanks for the lightning bolts. I want to mention it now because if you're at the end of the show, we usually go off and go right to the craft services table, Cindy and I. But if you want to get one more book, we have to have at least 3 different people with 3 flames, just like you're at a concert. Without them, we're just going to go on. It'll be time for us to go on to the craft services table. Then I think we have reservations at our favorite little restaurant. Next up,
our only $1 comic, Car 54. Where are you? #4.
Did anybody that's on the show ever see Car 54? You need to push that down just a little bit.
Only when I watched the shows that were about the shows. At that time.
Right, I've never seen it, but that's Herman Monster. Yeah, I guess I don't recognize the other guy, but I recognize his face, but I don't know what else he was in. But this is an actual show, Car 54. Where are you? $1. Next up,
we got Generations #1, the Captain America issue.
Oh, yes. Back in 2017, they started switching out the heroes, and this is whenever they did a story kind of handing off Captain America between Steve Rogers and the Falcon. And, so this seems timely. $2. Next up.
Classics Illustrated.
Oh, Classics Illustrated. What number is that?
69. 144.
144. The First Men on the Moon by H.G. Wells. It has you can't even see it, but it has a heinous tear through it. But it's still only $2, right? $2. $2. Next up.
Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 88.
Oh, with the Neil Adams cover, still can't save Lois from having to take the eyes of a murderer. $2. Next up.
Next up, Thor 301.
I don't even know what's going on here, but I'm in for
Fighting the Gods.
it. There we go. Issue 301. $2? $2. Next up.
We got a Strange Tales 187 that reprints Strange Tales 138 and 139. First Eternity.
Oh, look at that. You know, these just don't come through very often. These were all reprints at the end of the run, and it's also a kind of an anomaly because Strange Tales kept the same numbering with Doctor Strange, and then came back and used the same numbers for Strange Tales again. We're still $2? Mm-hmm. $2 for this quote. Hey, Larry, where are you? You're with Car 54, I guess. Next up.
Last $2 book, DC Comics presents Superman and Doom Patrol.
Superman and Doom Patrol, the Keith Giffen story inside of that. From 1982, only $2. Next up.
Next up, we got our $3 books. We got a Superboy, 126.
Oh, I think, did I write a little note on that? No, I didn't write a note on that. Did I write a note on the back of that?
Did you? Let's see. Crypto Family Tree.
Oh, yes. Cindy, did you see this? You got to check that out. They go through Crypto's family tree in the backup story of this. Superboy, $3. Next up.
We got an Adventure Comics 316.
Adventure Comics 316. Nice. $3. Next up.
Giant Superman Annual number 7.
All right, so we've had this book many times before, but this one's really rough and missing the back cover. So if you need a nice reader copy, there you go. All these books are sliding down too far, by the way. Next up.
All right. Superman 220.
Superman 220, great issue. This is a trope that they used many times. Someone punching the brick wall. I don't even know where that comes from. But Jerry, how many times did they use that? About 25 times during the Silver Age. Superman number 220, right?
Uh-huh.
$3. Next up.
One World's Finest 135 with a big Aquaman story in it.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Only $3 for this cool issue of World's Finest? Nice. Next up.
Next up, that was it. Fighting Marines 38.
Oh, I think that's a Glansman cover, too, on that. Fighting Marines, only $3. Next up. What year was that? Did I write what year that was?
1960.
1960 for that Fighting Marines. Holy smokes.
Superman 166.
Superman 160. Oh, it's Christmas time in the city. Superman, it's $3. Next up.
This is just Spider-Woman. No
the Spider-Woman.
It's a $3.
But it's a $3 from 1980, and it has a Spider-Man guest appearance in it. Mm-hmm. All right. Steve Lee Aloha, $3. Next up.
New Teen Titans 29 with a very shrunk Speedy.
Oh, Shrunk Speedy. Just a random issue of Teen Titans Perez Greatness. You need that for your collection, $3. Next up.
X Factor Special, Beast making out with Dazzler.
I don't think that's Dazzler.
Oh, you don't think it is?
I don't think it is. I thought it was too, but I kind of flipped through it because it had been 35 or 40 years since I read it. $3. This one's got a little curve in it. Otherwise, it's pretty nice. But just still, from 1990, what is it, 89?
Lucia.
Or what?
Starlin doing it. No notes.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah, it's up there, 1990.
1990, $3 for this prestige format. Beasts versus some kind of succubus, I want to say. Next up.
Superboy 116.
Superboy 116. Oh, yes. It's a wolf pack of one. Also, I think this... I went through a bunch of Superboys here because we have a lot of Superboys. And I was surprised at how many of these Superboy has this adventure, and in the last 4 panels, Crypto shows up and saves him. It just happens over and over again. Superboy 116, $3. Next up.
Lethal #1.
Is that one of the Youngblood characters? I can't remember. Marat Michaels writing and drawing on the inside of this, I believe. The Liefeld cover here from the peak shenanigans of the early 90s Image launch there. $3 for Lethal #1. Next up.
New Mutants Annual and the last of our lightning round.
Oh, yes. This is Davis Neary artwork, and if you're not familiar with them, here's a very quick $3 entry to the greatness of Davis and Neary.
That's a fun one, too.
Oh, my gosh. They made Excalibur just sing. All right, $3 for this New Mutants Giant Size Annual. What number is that, from 1987, or is it just the 1987? 3. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Lightning round is over. All right, next up.
Next up, we got the Matt Fraction Iron Man 500 through 515 plus the 501 issue. No.
Too far.
That's heavy.
Oh, so this is a lot of issues, like 16 issues, isn't it, right? $20. $20. That was Matt Fraction doing that. What's he doing recently? Anything? He was super hot for a while there. But this is 16 issues of the Invincible Iron Man, $20. Next up.
Phantom Stranger. Don't be a stranger.
Oh, yeah. Cindy did the research on this for me because I wanted to know if that spawn of Frankenstein was anywhere involved with the Creature Commandos, and she says, nah. But this is a really nice issue of Phantom Stranger from 1973, a nice Fine Plus copy. It's $15 in store. That's a very EC looking cover there, isn't it? $12 if you claim it here. The Phantom Stranger, number 25. Next up.
Star Wars 70, the near end of their run.
This is just I don't think, every once in a while we just throw a Star Wars in there just to see if anybody's interested.
Nice cover.
Very nice cover. All the characters on the cover. No random made up characters that look like bunnies or anything like that. From 1983, issue number 70, and sharp VF copy, $15 in store, $11 if you claim it here. Next up.
We got Spider-Man 234.
Oh, yes, with a new iteration of the Sinister Six. They are reborn. It says so right there at the top of that. From 2018, the sharp VF copy. I think this was a 6-part story, but this is not the first part. $12 in store, $9 if you claim it here. Next up.
Next up, we got Green Lantern.
Oh, boy. This book, wow, I never knew this until I worked this. Green Lantern number 42 from 1966. This is the third appearance of Zatanna.
Huh.
Third appearance of Zatanna. It's Gil Kane artwork on the inside. And it is a lovely, lovely book on the inside. This is like almost peak Gil Kane. It's just fantastic. Issue 42 is going to set you back $30, even in this VG. I mean, it's solid, it's beautiful, but it's been read a few times because it's awesome. $25 if you claim it here. Third appearance of Zatanna. Somebody find Ed Howell and make sure he has this. Next up,
the Black Knigget miniseries.
Knigget. Black Knight from 1990. They keep threatening to put the Black Knight in more movies.
I was so excited when they introduced him, and then they had heard Blade's voice at the end of Internals. I'm like, oh, Blade and the Black Knight?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And then they can't.
Yeah.
Really? All these Marvel stories for 50 years and you can't come up with a cool story?
And you can't. You're just going to drive it right off the cliff there, right? $20 in store, $16 if you claim it here. This Black Knight miniseries is from 1990. Looks like they're going through all the iterations. It was his great uncle that was the one of the original ones.
And then there was actually Night Times.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if I remember correctly.
I think that's they end up tying him into the Phantom Eagle somehow too.
I think so.
Yeah, and then there was a good long period there where he was just made of stone. Oops, that was a thing that happened. Next up,
hey, we got an early New Teen Titans, number 10, and Terminator's angry.
I think this is a very early appearance of
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, the Terminator. Issue number 10. Is it the second one? I'm not sure. But it says he's coming back here. Issue number 10 from 1981. Alan, this is where you need to jump in here and let me know. Is that the second appearance of the Terminator? No, I think the second appearance of the Terminator is in that Teen Titans X-Men crossover, I want to say.
Is it? Huh.
From 1981, this issue number 10 is $10 in store, $7 if you claim it here. Next up,
we got another Ultimate Spider-Man.
oh, this looks so familiar. Did I put this in the show last week? Did I find another copy?
I think it was another Venom.
Was it?
I
This was definitely the guy who wants to eat your brain right there. Issue number 33 from the original Ultimate Spider-Man run. Look at that Bagley art, right? VF copy, $10. Next up.
Well, another mini-series, 30 Days a Night, Return to Borrow.
Ah, yes. Templesmith or
Yeah. Steve Niles.
Steve Niles, yeah.
Ben Templesmith.
Right. 30 Days of Night. If you're not familiar with that, they even made 1 or 2 movies about it. Say, what happens if you're in Alaska and...
Yeah, it's one of those long nights, months of nights, and you can hear every single person in the world going, why didn't we think of that story?
Right. So the vampires get free reign. I mean, it's a little cold, but, like they care.
Yeah.
This is the one of the miniseries. I want to say the second, but
I say the third.
Is it the third? Issue 1 through 6 from 2004, $25 for the whole set, $20 if you claim it here. Next up,
Batman.
Oh boy, look at that! This is an early version of Batgirl, not the one that is Barbara Gordon. But this is, I don't even know. Is this Kate Keene or I can't remember.
Batwoman. There's a Batwoman.
Well, this is Batgirl.
No, but there's a Batwoman before.
Oh yeah.
And she's Batgirl to her Batwoman.
In this episode, Batmite meets Batgirl, and it's who did we say there was the artwork on that? Sheldon Moldoff, I believe, and he does all the stories on the inside of it too. $75 for this, nicely put together, nice colors on it. $60 if you claim it here. You can see an early version of Batgirl and Batmite. Next up,
last 3 books.
3 books left.
Green Lantern fighting the Dazzler. No, not her.
What?
Maybe he is.
That's not Taylor Swift?
No.
All right. This Green Lantern versus the Dazzler. There's nothing new under the sun, evidently. From 1966. A really nice copy. Fine, minus. $15 in store. $10. You want to find out what the heck is a Dazzler. And got some go-go checks going on up there. The new Teen Titans 10 is the second appearance of Deathstroke. All right. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. Next up.
Book number 2. Detective Comics.
What number is that? 496.
Yep.
Who is that? I don't know who that is. He's fighting on the cover there.
Ugly guy.
It's not Black Mask because he wasn't around yet, right?
Right.
From 1980, Detective Comics 496. $8 in store. $6 if you need this. Are they fighting on top of an aircraft?
They're fighting on a boat.
On a boat?
Mm-hmm.
Like a naval boat?
A boat.
Like a destroyer?
Ah.
Yeah. Next up,
last book of the night, Uncanny X-Men 126.
Oh, yes. Look at that. Cool cover. VF copy of that. First full appearance of Proteus, which was a thing that happened between Moria McTaggart and Professor X. And thank goodness someone had the forethought to put that sticker over Cyclops because he's just useless. He's not even first in. That leads from behind, I guess. $75 in store, $60 if you need to buy it here. But also, I don't know what to tell you, though. It has Cyclops in it. Blunk. Oh, yeah, now that's better. All right, next up. Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Oh, hey, Sean. Welcome to the show. Yeah, that is a strategically placed sticky note. It doesn't happen by accident. There we go. Chris has been putting the books up one at a time.
Yes, I have.
Kaylin's been keeping us on the straight and narrow over there, looking for opportunities to make her TikToks. Make sure you're checking out our YouTube channel and the Facebook here. She did a really nice one on Doctor Who last week, and it was a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that. And then Cindy's been over here minding her own knitting.
I am.
All right. Hopefully you'll come by and take advantage of our sale this weekend. And if not, make sure you have notifications turned on so you know when we do pop-up shows. Go back and watch that last pop-up show we did last Saturday on graphic novels because it's still open if people haven't claimed it. Professor X is not Proteus's dad? Oh. I could have swore that was... my memories, I am, over 60 years old now. I forget things. Well, there you go. Thanks a lot. Keep me on the straight and narrow. We'll do a little research on that. For Keith's Comics, I am Keith. Hopefully you'll stick around because there is another show after this. We'll shut this show down, close it up, reset everything. Chris's day is done. Then Cindy will slide into the seat and we'll do variants, ratios, and other kind of fun variants. For Keith's Comics, I am Keith. And if I don't see you at that show, I'll see you next time.
Keys Comics.